Hi, so I'll do the intros. I'm Chloe Ford, the branch chair of Swindon for the Wilts Berks Canal Trust, and this is Stephen Court above the cut.
Hi there.
YouTuber who does quite a lot of work for the Wilts Berks. A big fan.
Yeah, very much so. Local canal, so yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
and what we're doing today is exploring the North Wilts end of the canal. So I'll just jump into Swindon. So if you was coming along Canal Walk, the main parade in Swindon's centre, and you go along where what was previously the Debenham store, the Wilts Berks then turns and goes along Fleming Way and to the famous Magic Roundabout. But did you know the canal then turned the other way, and that was the North Wilts Canal, which joined us up to Cricklade and the Cotswold Canals. And that's what we're going to look at today, is Swindon still has some of that North Wilts Canal with a plan to restore it. So that's what we're going to look at today. So just going to follow Steve through the hedge here, and I'm going to show you the outside of the aqueduct. Now the aqueduct had work done on it around the millennium to make it secure. So just going to go and have a look at the aqueduct down there.
So this is wherever this is.
This is the very edge of Mouldon Hill, Mouldon Hill Country Park. So this is the aqueduct at the end of the current Mouldon Hill stretch. You'll be really pleased that we're stood here and not yourself at the minute, because the River Ray really does have a pungent smell to it. We can't comment as a trust, but yeah. It's as Steve was saying,
It's been in the press a lot recently.
Yeah, it's not pleasant on the nose. So obviously it's an aqueduct, so the North Wilts branch would have gone over the top here. This was maintained by the trust a few years ago and is in very good order. Lovely surviving feature. There is one more lock surviving. Hayes Knoll is on the way to Cricklade, and there is one further aqueduct about a quarter of a mile up the road from Hayes Knoll towards Cricklade, and that's also in good order and goes over another smaller river before we get into Cricklade. So if you visit Mouldon Hill Country Park, you'll see this just to the side, the left hand side of the River Ray down here. And soon the trust will have, we've got a brand new sign coming up here welcoming you to the Wilts Berks Canal Trust. So you come through the kissing gate. You don't physically have to kiss anyone.
And no one wants to kiss me.
And you can cross over here. And this is the original North Wilts Canal in unrestored form. And I'm just going to take you over there to show you the top of the aqueduct. There's the reed bed. There's Stephen stood there on the crossing. And this is the top of the aqueduct. This is just a walk around video today to introduce you to the area. And there's the River Ray. So this is the reed bed on the North Wilts. Totally unrestored, uncleaned, and obviously you can see trees in the bankside and so on. And this is the towpath. So the plan for the trust, we're doing an ecological report at the moment, starting at the end of January. That's privately funded, and we're going to do 5 stages of work. But the first stage will be to go back here, and you'll see originally that just where my finger is there, you'll see original planting, and you can see where this has been chopped, what they call dedging, and we'll continue the dedging, renew the dedging, so a lot of this will go cut back, and the towpath will start from there and restore over. So this is actually towpath here, and this will get restored. It's first port call. I just want to show you how cold it is. Look at the ice around those trees. The canal is in water here, despite restoration.
This is Mouldon.
So just to the right of us, just before I pressed record, a train went by, and obviously the train is the demise of the canal. And now the canals are being restored for leisure purposes mostly. But this is Mouldon Hill Lock, or Mouldon Lock, and this was restored in the millennium, for the millennium. I'm just going up a mound here, and it's got lovely brickwork. It's very deep, so they've erected a fence here. I'm not going to cross over the fence, and if you do come to visit this site, if you do come to walk along this wonderful stretch, please do not go over this fence line. It's a very deep lock. The gates aren't in place at the moment because it's not a working lock, but it is fully safe now, fully structural, and I'm just going to show the other end to show you how the lock would work. Apologies for the ambulance in the background. That's the deepest part of the lock, and just down there you'll see an entrance hole. There'll be lock gates there, and that's where the water comes through. So what happens is you got these, the paddle will be in there. The paddle raises up, allowing water to flow through, and goes down there to allow the water through, and you control the level of the water through these paddle points that will be in here. The top bit's an overflow, and this bit is in water at the moment.
So that bit you would have your windlass.
Yeah, this is where Peggy's face says it all there. So where Peggy's walking now, this would have been the original lock site, and it's been lost through the transition of the power station, and that reed there, thistle, is a pound, a large pound, and then beyond that we'll show you where the brickwork is of the second lock. So I'm just walking up here. This would have been Moredon Lock, where Stephen and Peggy are stood there, is inside the lock, and there is the waiting wall, the original brickwork. That is Wilts Berks bricks, and you can see the original wall of the lock is still in existence. And I'm just going to come over past this fallen tree, or cut tree. You can just about see it there. That's the holding wall that would have protruded around in that shape to hold back the weight of the water. You can see it quite well now. And those there are coping stones at the top of the lock.
Just here.
Yeah, and just there. It's lovely to see this this part of history still here, and at some point in the future possibly we retake this route. Who knows, you may see this lock back in use. So that's the wall what Stephen stood on there, and that's coping stones 1 and 2 of Moredon Lock. So we've just come up that bank, and I'm just going to turn the camera slowly for you guys here. I am stood in the middle of the canal line, and it goes up beyond those trees through there, and that's my feet and the canal, and now we'll go off behind the Nova Heriot School, which we're just going to have a look at now. So we've just pushed ourselves through the undergrowth here. There is a track, and I'm just going to walk past this tree and show you that if I step down here, and dear viewer, if you do come this way, go very careful, because this will be an unknown depth. But you are looking at the original canal line going through the Moredon sports fields. Stephen stood there, shows the towpath, and this is the towpath that we wish to reinstate in the future, which I don't think is a bad task, but we're just going to show you that the canal is in water, and you've got to be very careful, and I'll show you why that's frozen. But I'm going to use this stick to show you how deep this water is. That stick's just disappeared about 2 foot down there, so dear viewer, do not try and play with water, it's very dangerous. So we're much further over now, and away from Purton Road Bridge area, away from the Moredon sports fields, actually heading over to the new Moredon sports field. Behind me, this dip behind the fence line is the original canal body. That's the base. We're on the towpath originally again here. As you can see, it's not maintained, and Stephen's there on the towpath, Peggy in the distance actually walking on the towpath. The fence here was when the land was passed over to Nova Herriard, when Nova Herriard was built. So we're just going to go up and see what's beyond up here towards the sports fields and the restricted compound with the canal in it. So just looking down at the canal bed to give you some depth for the camera, Stephen stood on the towpath, and then it drops down about 1.5 feet into the canal bed. This is the original Nova Herriard fence, but Nova Herriard have moved their fence back, so they are no longer in the towpath, in the canal line. So if you're walking through Moredon into the fields, this is actually what you're looking at. Original canal, towpath walk. So this is the furthest point of which I can walk today, and this is a stretch of original canal still in water that runs all the way down beyond this fence in a linear fashion right down to the back of Swindon Borough Council's recycling centre. And you can actually see this on Google Maps as a blue strip of original canal. But this is what it looks like in real life. This is the water that is ever so deep. Now this hasn't had any maintenance probably since 1914 of the original closure, or beyond that. So this is the canal in its natural resting state, as we could say. It would be wonderful to restore this body stretch of water beyond Nova Herriard and into the Mouldon Hill stretch. But our task for the foreseeable next couple of years is to reinstate the towpath and the access. So as you can see, the towpath is in need of lots of work. So that's the scheme for the moment, but it's lovely to know that yes, indeed, Swindon does have more historic canal through it than people realise.